Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing today? It's Kenshin, and today we're going to be talking about a song that I probably should have reviewed a few days ago, but I was just finishing up the semester, so, now that I'm off for the summer, we can have a lot more time to do things and hang out together. So I'm a little bit late on this one, but hopefully not too much. We're going to be talking about something that's been long awaited by 3 Days Grace fans. Well, some of them, perhaps. We've talked plenty about the whole 3 Days Grace debacle, Matt Walsh, Adam Gontier, whatever it is, whatever side you're on, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to pick sides. Music is music. But I, in my opinion, felt that without Adam in the band, 3 Days Grace's new music was fairly boring. Now, whether that was as a result of just it being boring in general, not a good album, or because it was Adam's contribution, well, who knows. But I have a feeling it is, unfortunately, for 3 Days Grace, it's the latter. Because now we have, after 2 years of waiting, we have Adam Gontier's new project finally debuting for all of us in the form of Saint Asonia. They're a rock supergroup. This is a little more than people were expecting. People thought Adam might just tour around and do a kind of thing. Now, in Saint Asonia, we have the guitarist for Stained, Mike Mushok, Empire, the bass player, Corey Lowery, and the former Finger 11 drummer, Rich Beddoe. Which, for fans of that rock radio genre, that's pretty awesome. Of course, Adam himself on vocals and guitar. For fans of that rock radio genre, that's a hell of a supergroup. Now, as far as I feel on it, supergroup, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. To me, I don't really care about any of those other bands. They may be great, they may be awful. I know people like them, but I don't have an opinion. So the only person in this project who matters to me is Adam. And I was interested to see what would happen now that we've taken 3 Days Grace, removed the front man, have a new one in there, and then they turned out to be lackluster. What is Adam like on his own with some new mates making some new music? And I'm proud to say, I'm very glad to say, that Saint Asonia, just in this one song, in Better Place, which was their first breakout single, in one fell swoop, they whooped 3 Days Grace's ass. It's kind of funny. Human was, for the most part, an unfortunately boring album. I hate to keep on bringing 3 Days Grace into this because this is about Adam. This is about Saint Asonia. But unfortunately, the two topics are so closely interlinked, you can't help but not talk about them, especially when you have new releases from both of them. In Better Place, we see energy, passion, movement, and power that was not present on Human. Now, a lot of people are probably saying, Kenshin, you say you listen to metal, you listen to progressive avant-garde shit. Why are you talking about this, FM rock crap? Well, it's because I grew up with 3 Days Grace, Bullet for My Valentine, Linkin Park, Disturbed. I started with that music and then eventually worked my way into what I listen to now. So as such, it has a special place in my heart. But all that aside, because I know there are going to be people out there who are wondering that. All that aside, though, Better Place is basically what you think it is. Of course we have all of the other members of the other bands in here making this super group, which I could care less if it's a super group or a super shit, as far as the name goes. They're just another band to me. But they're promising really well. But this song was clearly written by Adam because it's basically a big ol' middle finger to 3 Days Grace. Saying, I'm in a better place now. You guys fucking stressed me out, made me sick, made me depressed. I fucking hated it. Now look where I am. I'm happy where I am. I'm doing well. This is a better place for me. This is so much better. Fuck all y'all. Now, while I question the wiseness and perhaps maturity of making this a song about 3 Days Grace, if you didn't know the issue, you could say, well, it's probably just a fuck you to anyone to sort of look at me now kind of thing. But come on, let's be honest. Now, we don't know, we'll never know what exactly happened between Adam and 3 Days Grace. We don't know. All we know is that when he left, he had some not so nice things to say. Whether they're true or not, who knows? 3 Days Grace fans will avidly defend their band. Adam fans will avidly defend their man. I like both sides, but to be fully honest, I do lean a little bit more towards Adam because, you know, he started the band, he gave all these singles, and they were, you know, all the tracks that everyone knows by 3 Days Grace, they were his thing. And in this song here, in this new tune, we see renewed energy and renewed power that we have not seen from Adam in years. You know, he sounds on point. His vocals, he just sounds like he's loving it. You know, in the past 3 Days Grace, maybe 1 or 2 albums, it sort of sounds like perhaps he has been phoning it in. Kind of like, yeah, he does care, but not quite enough. You could see his energy come through in his live performances, but as for on the studio, it was just kind of like, yeah, okay, another album, whatever. Here, we're seeing some real fucking enthusiasm and energy in Adam's performance, you know, on the album. And his single. His vocals are full of energy, full of life, and full of this almost angst in a way. This, you know, how he's just saying, I'm cutting you out of my life forever, you're tearing me down, I'm gonna tear apart this pain that I feel. You know, I'm in such a better place without all of you around. Whatever the actual truth of the situation is, we'll never know, but the point is, it's a good fucking song. It's got a great guitar solo, something that 3 Days Grace only manages once in a while. This one had a great solo that worked well, excellent pacing. Because something I noticed on Human, the pacing of a lot of the songs was very strange. You know, I'm okay with strange pacing, time changes, whatever, you know. I listen to all the weird shit, you know, that's fine by me. But in this case, it was, on Human, it was awkward and sloppy, and just didn't feel right, and the album itself didn't have a good pacing. It was not good. Here with Saint Asonia's new track, even the song itself has good pacing. It's got high energy, kicking energy the whole way through, comes to a great point, comes around, you know, the guitar solo accentuates everything. It's awesome. It's everything we've been wanting from Adam's own work going forward after 3 Days Grace, you know, and I'm pleased to say it was a good listen. You know, the music itself has got energy. You know, it's actually got this really punch and kickin', high fire energy feel. And that's awesome. That's what I want. You know, I don't know where 3 Days Grace is going with their direction now. I question what in the fuck they're doing. But here I can see what's going on. And I'm really excited to see more of what Saint Asonia is going to bring to us. Just as I predicted, they were the special guest at Rock on the Range the other day, and I don't want to watch those live videos, but I understand they put on a hell of a performance. They played a lot of new songs and some 3 Days Grace tunes, which is great. I'll wait until the studio versions of those originals come around before reviewing them, because live performances, you know, I could never give that a proper review unless it was professionally done. The best you're going to get is like cell phone camera that's going around like this and shit, and it flies off and lands on some dude's dick and gets flopped around. We don't want that, no. So overall, this is a good track. I'll link to it down there. It's 3 or 4 minutes long. You're not going to lose anything. Even if you don't like the rock FM radio kind of shit, you know, whatever, you're not going to lose anything. It's not bad by any means, but some of you might find it uninteresting if you're into the more technically complex stuff, which I do like. But I also like to remember where my music tastes came from originally. And for what it is, it's a really good song. Within its genre, this is some really promising stuff, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Adam and Saint Asonia are going to be able to do together moving forward. So go check it out, and once you do, come back here and let me know. What did you think of Better Place by Saint Asonia? Was it good? What did you think of Human? How does it compare? How does it stack up? Let me know. I'm curious to find out what the rest of you guys think. I'll see you later. Peace.